Hi guys, welcome to a brand new series. We are done with the Americans. It was a fabulous show. I wish it would have been more popular. It wasn't. So I was wanting to keep the same theme as I mentioned at the end of that last series, and was trying to find something remotely similar that concentrates on espionage or the Cold War or something like that. This is the closest I could find for the time being. There are more out there. I just need to do a little bit more research on them. So, I didn't even know this series existed. I found it on a forum of someone asking the same question. Are there any other shows like The Americans? And this popped up. So we're going even further back. This is going back to the 60s and is all to do with, well, what we've always had, the differences between the US and the USSR and the Soviet period. So I don't know really any details from it other than what we can see, here. It's about the race for the man to the moon, which tends to suggest it may go differently. I'm excited to find out. This show has 4 seasons, I believe, and has just announced a 5th season to come. So hopefully that will be available by the time we reach that point. So hopefully this one might be a bit more popular. I don't know. I haven't looked it up anywhere else as to whether other people are reacting to it or anything like that. So we're just going to go for it. I like to be honest, a lot of the times I like to actually do stuff that other people haven't done or tackled, because yes, I may not get the metrics, I may not get the views, and it be popular, but it's something I've done that nobody else has done. I'm not too bothered about the metrics and everything. I'm not particularly anal about that and wanting to make lots of money from it or anything, which a lot of YouTube reactors still try to monetize their content, which is why they cut things so short and cut things off so quickly. I don't monetize my YouTube for TV reactions, so the low view count doesn't actually make that much difference. With that said, I do like to make something that's different, that's what most people aren't reacting to, and just go with the flow and go with it on Patreon. And this will eventually come to YouTube at a later point, because we're not finished with the Americans yet, because it was a lot further behind. Anyway, that's a lot of bump. You don't want to hear that. We want to get on the show, don't we? I don't like to waffle for too long. So, For All Mankind, Episode 1, Season 1. Let's go.
I don't think that we can exaggerate the great advantage which the Soviet Union secured in the 50s by being first in space, and that we were on the decline.
Yeah, not good.
By how we do in the field of space, and therefore this country, both political parties have determined that the United States shall be first.
The race to space.
Mamá, ¿cuánto más tiempo tenemos que ver esto? Hablan y hablan y hablan.
Oh, look who it is.
Esto es algo especial. Quiero estar aquí para esto. Con ella.
Do you need a doctor for?
Así lo recuerdo.
Spacecraft
Chill.
landed. Can we confirm that? Radio and television signals from the moon take less than 2 seconds to reach us here on Earth, live from the moon.
Wow, look at that. Wait a minute. This
In the
doesn't
United
feel...
Kingdom, we're told that Queen Elizabeth II was awakened when first reports of the pending moon landing was received.
There's no video yet, but they're down.
At the Vatican, Pope Paul VI.
Wow.
That would be the sign.
Wow, they're just going straight in with this, aren't they?
Are a little more than guesswork, but experts have
And we're not
long
doing anything here,
anticipated
are we?
possible viewership
Look.
of over 500 million people.
Is this really happening?
We have a picture. Sid, can we patch into... Got it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a live signal from the moon. There, I see it. There it is. Amazing. Just unbelievable. Indeed, the shock across the world.
This is Russia, isn't it?
Indescribable. The legs of the lunar lander, there at the bottom of your screen, is what appears to be a ladder. We have him. Oh my goodness. Wow. After thousands of years, ladies and gentlemen, gazing up in the heavens and dreaming of this day, a man is about to set foot on the moon.
I mean, it was a big thing. Except history's different here.
Don't know what he's saying, obviously, but we'll get a translation of his words.
Wow, that's just deflated everyone in America. You can see it.
Translation now.
His name.
I take this step for my country, for my people, and for the Marxist-Leninist way of life, knowing that today is but one small step on a journey that someday will take us all to the stars.
That's not what happened.
So, for now, we'll let you soak in this historic moment.
I like to have done that.
And reflect on what it means for our country and for the world.
They beat you to it. Oh, this is going to be a different America bred from this. Red Moon.
How the hell did this happen? Those bastards at NASA have been acting like they had everything under control, and then they fumbled the ball right at the goddamn goal line. You know how the press is going to play this, don't you? The New York Times is going to say that Kennedy started the moon race, Johnson ran it, and then Nixon tripped at the goal line.
They should have let you land. Then we would have been first.
Rub it in, why don't you? Oh, he's an astronaut. That's why he was paying such close attention.
Thank you.
Hey, you have a good day, okay?
Okay.
How do you think it's going to affect the program?
Oh.
I don't know. Dee's called an all-hands meeting this morning, so...
Yeah, you'll have all been called in. Like, why didn't we
I
know
hope they
about
still
this?
fly Apollo 15.
Apollo?
Hey, do you want me to
15?
say this or toss it?
Toss it.
Okay.
Should keep that.
Save it.
Okay. Apollo 15, he said. I can't remember. The one thing I will say now is I am obviously familiar with a bit of the past as to the space program and the Apollo missions, especially Apollo 13, because they made a movie out of it. But that's kind of it. I don't know any major specifics or people or names involved apart from the famous ones, or what Apollo, you know, like she's just mentioned Apollo 15 there. I don't know what 15 did or 12 did, or I haven't a bloody clue. I may need a bit of a history lesson.
Morning, Poppy.
Morning.
It's gotta
Morning,
be.
sir.
Morning.
Oh, I like him. So now it's going to be meeting. What the fuck happened? Why didn't we know about it?
Apollo 11 is scheduled to fly in 2.5 weeks. Neil,
11
Buzz, Mike, and their backup
was meant
crew
to be
will
the one.
continue training as planned. Training for Apollos 12 to 20 will also continue as planned.
Oh, that's because the ones at the top are panicking. They're all on the headline news.
I was at the Cape with the rest of the Mercury astronauts when Jim Webb came down and told us the Russians put the first man in space. First, we had to be pissed off, and we were. Gus could hardly speak. And Al, glad Al Shepard's not here today. Al was really pissed. Even Glenn, yes, believe it or not, gentlemen, John Glenn actually said the word fuck. So before we go back to work, it's time to be pissed. I suggest you all take the weekend to go out, get drunk, kick your dog, gnash your teeth, howl at the moon, or do whatever suits your purpose. Come Monday morning, we're back to work.
You know, looking back at the time, we saw that little thing with Nixon there, that little snippet meant to be, you know, him talking as to responding to this. That you'd no idea. The CIA had no idea. No one, no surveillance, no whatever it is you lot do to keep your eye on the Russians. There was no hints that this was coming. Whereas the other way around, because America is a free and open thing, they obviously knew at what point you were at, which is why they probably rushed to get there first. It's very surprising that that actually didn't happen, and this is actually part of our real history. But you only get a chance to be first at something once. No one remembers who came second or third, so now it's damage control.
So, outpost.
Last one buys.
This should be an interesting show because it's not based on our history. It's, wow, look at all their cars. Adrenaline, they like the rush, they like speed, they like anything that's dangerous. Just don't ever you crash and burn. He's redlining that. He looks particularly pissed.
The president wants answers, and he wants them now.
We at NASA were given no indication the Soviets were so close to a landing.
Gathered.
Langley's not taking the fall for this. We did report 2 launches of the Soviet N-1 rocket. We said we had a 95% confidence level the January vehicle was unmanned, but we only had 80% confidence on the second launch.
The N-1 is a crude and unsophisticated vehicle compared to the Saturn V.
It doesn't matter now.
The launch of Apollo 11.
I'm not
The
concerned
vehicle could be ready, but the phase of the moon would not be correct.
The phase of the moon? Come on.
He's right.
And we cannot land in darkness.
Didn't know that.
NASA is prepared to extend manned exploration beyond the moon.
Just last month, you sent Apollo 10 all the way to the moon for what you called a dress rehearsal for the landing. But Ed Baldwin and Gordo Stevens actually piloted the lunar module down to within 8 miles of the surface. They were so close.
Landing wasn't in the mission plan.
They could have been first. An American, Edward Baldwin, could have been the first man on the moon.
Edwin Baldwin. Okay, that's different. So it wouldn't have been Apollo 11, and it wouldn't have been Aldrin and Armstrong. So, but the press are already pushing and pressing for this because they've done it first. They wouldn't have questioned you running procedure and making sure everything is in position with Apollo 10. Had the Russians still not gone up there, they won't be questioning anything until Apollo 11 launches. They're only questioning you now because in the interim, looking back, should you have just landed at that point rather than making it a test?
There was insufficient fuel for such an attempt, and the spacecraft
Not enough burn
weighed
fuel.
too much for a landing. It was never considered.
Any thoughts from the crew of Apollo 10 on this dark day?
Not a one. We're just here blowing us some steam.
Come on.
So close, we just reach out and grab a handful of moon dust.
And then
Ship was
NASA
them.
decides to bring you home.
On 10. Yeah, for them it would.
What matter?
It would for them now.
For sure.
Wasted opportunity.
Don't go that far.
It's not in the mission plan.
That's what they
Yeah,
just said.
okay, fair enough. But in retrospect, sure have been.
But all that means is we would have had a little narrower safety margin if we'd gone for the landing. Ain't that right, Ed?
Right.
Mouth shut.
I gotta hit that.
You need to remain professional here and just reiterate what NASA saying. You can't tell him anything.
Why they didn't have the guts to let you land? Huh?
You got some balls, man.
Oh, okay. Going back
just
here.
reach down there, drop a handful of moon dust.
This was that mission. So close.
Not anymore.
Come on. I've been around you guys a lot. You like being on the bleeding edge of things.
3, 2, 1.
But you're not going to defy orders, so that's good.
We used to be like that. You're right. We don't have guts at NASA anymore.
Oh, I hope that's not you quoting. What happened to them?
That's the thing. Good men die in test planes all the time. But you don't change the whole culture of flight test because good men die. We still get up there and push the envelope every single day.
Who died then?
Today's the day you don't come back. We all know that. But we stopped taking risks at NASA.
Oh, and that's going to be the headline quote. We don't take risks at
That's why
NASA.
we lost the moon.
So we lost the moon. Okay, we're moving on. I hope you guys are on board and you're going to enjoy this with me. I really do.
It's 12:02.
Copy that.
12:02.
Stand by, Eagle. We're checking. In the meantime, yaw the antenna round -9er.
-9 plus 18.
Everything had to be done by hand doing a simulator.
Checking on a flight. Get right back to you.
What are you wanting to do? She seems to know. Whereas he's looking it up. Go on. Speak up.
Gato, this is Margot. I think I recognize that alarm. It's okay. They can still land.
Margot, you're out of your lane. This is a Guido issue.
I know the code. The computer is rebooting itself, but it's not a problem.
Or is it because she's a woman? This is the 60s here.
Houston, we need a reading on the 12:02.
He's still trying to find it.
Still don't have it, Flight.
Okay. I'm calling it. Abort the landing. Eagle, Houston, abort. Repeat, abort landing.
I bet she was right. So he's guidance, she isn't. So he's basically telling her to keep her nose out of it. But she's just a little old woman. What does she know, right? 1969.
The fault is yours.
Why? Because it wasn't in my lane?
Because you hesitated.
I wanted to double check my answer.
You knew the answer.
You're always telling me that I have to respect the chain of command.
Yes.
Well, in this situation, I felt that the chain of command...
No, not feel. This is not a place for feelings. You had the facts on your side, but you felt intimidated.
Yes, you did.
That is the problem. You want to be a flight controller, to be Fido on a real mission. Then you must only do that which advances the work. Understand?
Where's his accent from?
Yes. Hair doctor.
Good.
We were right there. So close you felt like you could reach out and grab a handful of moon dust.
Quote.
All it would have taken was some guts. But we don't have guts at NASA
there
anymore. To the moon.
Fired! Oh, he's going to be pissed at you.
Shit now, my friend.
How deep?
Above your eyeballs.
Deep.
Von Braun wants you reassigned to the Apollo Applications Project, effective immediately.
Von Braun? Is that the Von Braun I'm thinking of? Dunno.
Are you taking me off Apollo 15?
You took you off 15.
Yeah, you did.
Apollo Applications. Apollo Applications. Siberia with a desk. We should be leaning forward instead of worrying about every little...
Pull your head out of your ass, Ed!
Yeah. You can't
Look
tell
around.
That.
You want to cry about Apollo 15? Let me tell you something. There may not be an Apollo 12, much less 15.
What the hell are you talking
They
about?
could scrap it.
The country's in shock. American people thought we had this thing in the bag. Then the Russians come along and snatch it away at the last minute.
They could pull your funding.
Might cancel everything after 11.
That's usually what happens when the race is over. Winner collects their prize. Loser
Everybody
goes home.
In order to return to Washington and confer with congressional leaders on the need for hearings into how the United States lost the race to the moon.
Gonna get up there and say how NASA was bolder under his brother, how they've lost their edge under Nixon. This is the opening of the campaign. Kennedy for president in 72, just you watch. I'd help us all.
And if you can't fly for NASA, you'll go back to the Navy.
I don't know what I'm going to
Talk about self-destruct your career.
Well, you're going to sit behind a desk.
Hell no.
Exactly. So you'll go back to the Navy, which means we're moving. The next question now is where?
I admire her. She's obviously a strong woman for the time period. And she's just like, okay, that's major collateral damage. We need to regroup. We need to focus on something else. You're off that. You're not going to sit behind your desk. Go back to the Navy. I like at least that she's not just leaving it all up to him and just being just the wife at home with the kids and, well, it's your job, it's your decision, it's your career, it's your life. And that he's somebody that just takes total control of it. Appears to not be that way, otherwise he'd be shutting her down here.
You gonna ask for Pax River? I mean, Maryland's fine. Means based on your past, they will send you back to 7th Fleet, which means we'll be based out of Pearl. I mean, Yankee Station flying strike missions over Vietnam.
That's what I do, Karen.
That is
Bloody
a goddamn
hell.
useless thing to say.
She's just painting the picture here.
I didn't know it was gonna blow up like this.
This is why you don't talk to the press.
Why? Because you were just two guys in a bar talking and telling it like it is?
Something like
To a reporter. The code says you're not supposed to talk about those things. That's what you said. Not with your buddies, not with your family, not with your wife.
Nothing.
I mean, who knew? Who knew that all it took was a couple of drinks in a dive bar for you to break that code? Or I'll just read about it in the newspapers with everyone else. Right?
Oh, she's not wrong, but damn, that was a stinging.
Never seen a lowly putt knocker from Apollo Applications? I know there was some dumb son of a bitch that shot his mouth off in the press and made the whole agency look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm here to help you boys get back to work any way I can.
These right countries in shock.
Siberia?
I think Siberia sits over there.
2 weeks to launch,
I don't know the
gentlemen.
terminology.
This will be our last meeting before 11 heads for the Cape, so I want final checklists on my desk.
That looks pretty
So will
good.
he make the call?
That looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Think they're leaving themselves some wiggle room.
But it's another chance to demonstrate the superiority of our technology. We will call a man on the moon from a telephone. It's amazing.
I told them. You know what Ziegler said? The president doesn't usually call the silver medalist.
It wasn't easy, but I got it.
Just glad we remembered.
Just as well. It was always just extra weight. We should have stuck with the monkeys.
While the Nixon administration has made no public commitment to any landing beyond this one, multiple anonymous sources in the White House have said that if Apollo 11 were to end in failure, the entire program would probably be canceled.
In just a few moments, there will be a scheduled hold in the count at exactly T-minus 2 hours.
It still amazes me that they accomplished any of this
Holding.
with rudimentary
The count has been held
computers.
at T-minus 2 hours.
Till a few weeks ago, I thought I knew what today was all about.
Not anymore.
Today is about the future of our country.
It is
the
now.
future of the world. Okay?
You were all
The
fucked.
United States will turn away from space.
Yeah.
Turn away from the future. Well, the future will belong to the Soviet Union. They will be the ones reaching into space for all of mankind. What that means for the future, to look like the Marxist-Leninist way of life.
I get
But
chills
if
just
we
thinking
succeed,
about that.
if we succeed in putting Apollo 11 on the moon, we're still in this thing, still in the race. I guarantee we are not stopping there.
No, you've got to do something
We're
else
going to
after that.
Mars, Saturn, the asteroids, the stars, deep space. Are we alone? Is there life out there?
There is, but it's too far away.
And I know that we will succeed today in our mission in putting 2 Americans on the moon. Failure is not an option.
It's a hell of a famous quote. Yeah, you're still in it if you get them up there. And nothing goes wrong.
Kennedy Launch Control, we are go.
All bets are off, aren't they? It's not our history. It's not our Earth. It's a parallel, alternate theory. So, for all we know, something could go wrong with Apollo 11 instead of Apollo 13. We don't know. We can't go off anything that we know our history now other than minor things. You know, it's still NASA, it's still going to the moon, it's still a lot of the same key players, but everything else, the story has changed. Oh, I'm going to really enjoy this. If they land on the moon, this is going to be them trying to take their next step. Why are we concentrating on this family here from Mexico? I wonder why we're focusing on it. They must come into it for some reason.
After separation, the LEM will perform a pitch-up maneuver, and the 2 spacecraft will back away. And the mission
Hey, come on in.
This is
Can I
all
take your purse? No, I'll set it down.
all the astronauts' wives, won't it?
Burn, which will send them down towards the surface.
Snoopy, what might have been. You ever think about what you'd have said if it had been you? If you were the first man on the moon.
Well, we know
Probably
what.
something better than I'm here for the Marxist-Leninist way of fucking life, I'm sure.
Yeah, anything better than that. I like that they're doing the space scenes completely silent because
Eagle,
it fucking
Columbia,
would be.
Houston. All systems are looking good for going over the hill.
Talk to you on the other side.
Come on, get that eagle down. That must be terrifying.
Loss of signal of Apollo 11. Reacquisition in 48 minutes.
48.
Pretty
What do you say, 48
disturbing,
minutes?
but it's really good. You know, it sticks with you.
What did Gordo think of this movie?
Oh, he was just upset that it wasn't that kind of X-rated film.
Of course he was.
Well. The queen has arrived.
Hello, Karen.
Hello,
Tracy.
Marge.
Are you busy right now?
Not at all.
Is that the flight controller, or I don't know, or was it the guy in charge?
Should we sit down?
Sure.
Everyone believes it would be in the best interest of the agency and the country for Edward to make a public denial by that reporter and strongly disassociating himself from those remarks. Deke would be able to persuade Dr. Von Braun to reinstate him on 15.
It is the guy's in charge's wife, right? So that's Deke. Okay.
It's not that simple, Marge. Eddie would never get up and lie. He went to Annapolis. Right, duty, honor, country, those things matter to him. I don't mean to imply that, but I know my husband...
Duty, honor, country. I believe in those things. Sometimes
It's going to be what's important to him.
you have to pick two.
Yeah.
Godspeed, Eagle.
It is a marvel of modern engineering.
I love how they're so deadpan the way they read it out in the news back then.
Hay un cruce a medio milla hacia el este.
Yeah, they're crossing the border.
Paguen eso. Silencio, no hablan adelante.
Yeah, you don't want to get caught.
Houston, I'm getting a little fluctuation in AAC voltage now.
Our position checks
So
down
she
there
needs to
shows
start
to be a
being
little
more
low.
assertive. Come on, give it us the old
2 feet per second greater than it should be.
10-4, the Eagle has landed.
3,000 feet. 800 feet. Eagle looking great. Here we go.
35 degrees, 750.
Oh, I got a feeling something's going to go wrong.
Copy.
Altitude, velocity, light. Watch your shadow out there.
I see the shadow. Wait. Got some boulders up ahead. Right in our path. Looking for a better sight. Thrusting forward.
20 seconds, flight.
Oh, hell.
75 feet.
He's outside the safety margin.
Oh, no.
Should we abort?
You can't now.
Neil knows the situation.
Picking up some dust.
Lot of dust.
Drifting right.
We've lost telemetry.
Oh,
No bio readings. Lost contact.
the music sounded like Inception. Do not tell me they've crashed.
Settle down, people. Settle! Capcom, see if you can raise the limb.
Eagle, Houston, do you read? Eagle, this is Houston. Do you copy? Columbia, Houston, we've lost contact with the Eagle. See if you can raise him.
Eagle, this is Columbia. Can you copy my transmission? Come back.
Come on. Oh,
Eagle,
fuck.
this is Houston. Do you copy?
Is it possible the spacecraft exploded?
Unlikely.
They're out of fuel, so they're definitely down.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just communications.
The skin on the Eagle's so thin you could punch a hole in it with a screwdriver.
Oh, man.
At least they were in their suits. If they are alive, what's our contingency plan? There is no contingency plan.
54 minutes. There's a telescope on board. Maybe Mike can see something from orbit.
They've crashed.
I think the landing site should be coming up soon. Can't see anything yet. Don't know if you can see this.
I don't see anything.
I don't see shit.
Gotta be screen.
Sorry, with a crappy
I
resolution.
see Eagle. I'd say she's
There
about...
it is.
Seems to be in a... pretty rocky area. Can't see any movement or activity.
Breath for any word on the fate of Apollo 11 and its crew. But as more time passes, hope is beginning to fade. The Lord is a stronghold in times of trouble.
Karen, you and Luann head over to the Aldrin house. Betty and Jackie to the Collins. There's gonna be a lot of press out there. You just push past them and say no comment.
President, after running various simulations, it is our judgment that the likelihood of the astronauts having survived a crash of this nature is very low.
Alert the networks. I want your time to address the nation.
Oh my God.
In modern times, we do much the same. But our heroes are epic men of flesh and blood. And these men will remain the foremost in our hearts. We'll know that they're in some corner of another world that is forever mankind.
I think you're finished. After this, as well.
There's nothing left for us to do on the back.
Never drink to a success before it happens.
No.
Not very scientific, but good advice.
I decided a long time ago that if something like this were to happen, that I wasn't coming home alone.
I'm staying right where I am. He doesn't get to make that decision.
Well, he does. He's up there. You're not.
The man's 200,000 miles away. How are you going to enforce it?
And don't call him.
Find his wife. Get her to talk to him.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Please tell me we are not going to bring this man's wife in.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. Do you read?
Tranquility Base, Houston. Neil, is that you?
The Eagle has landed.
Oh,
might have put the feather or two on the way down, but she's still here.
Where have you been, guys? It's been like 4 hours.
We're pretty happy up here, too, to tell you the truth.
I think I got this camera working, Neil.
It's knocked everything out,
Not
hasn't
one of
it?
my better landings, but like we used to say in the Navy, any landing that you can walk away from is a good one. But we decided to pick ourselves up and get back to work.
Now we got to get him home.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look, because it's... Yeah, you've crashed into a rock. He picked an alternate landing site, and that happens right next to a crater as well. Alright then. That was a fabulous opening episode. Whoa. I don't know where to begin with that. It's not what I totally expected. It's similar, but I didn't know how much of history was going to be different in this alternate world. What are we going to call this now? Is this a parallel universe? I don't see it as being that. It's not that kind of scientific show, sci-fi show. I think this is just a what if. What if it had gone down like this, i.e. it's an alternate reality. And nothing's gone as our history went. A lot of the names are the same, the places are the same, the objective is the same. How it unfolds is different. What I'm concerned about is this Von Braun guy. Because is that Werner Von Braun? I don't know enough about my history, but I didn't know he was involved with this, or was he not? But he is with this. I've no idea. Well, we'll have to get more information on that, so I'll put that to one side for now. But his accent's giving it away. Anyway, the big thing in here was this Ed guy, who just his frustration level, because the Russians beat them to it, got the better of him in the bar after a couple of drinks, as his wife said, and he just spilt the beans on how he was feeling about it. We don't take risks anymore. We should have been the first. We should have been, him and the other guy, he's like, we should have landed. But it's all, well, what if afterwards, looking back? Same with anything in life. Well, if we'd have just done this, yes, but you didn't. And now you're dealing with what happens because you didn't. Nixon's pissed because it all falls down on him. The CIA are claiming they had no clue this was coming. They're only 80%, I think he said, certain of the second one that went up as to whether it was just another test, and the Russians beat them to it. It just sent chills down my spine with him saying, "I do this for all mankind." What was it he said? I can't remember because it's not a quote that we know. But for the Leonard Marxist way of life, I mean, Jesus. So, the one thing that we've got different in this show, clearly, I think we would have seen more of it had it been this. All of this is from an American point of view. We are not looking at it like we did with the Americans, where we have both sides of the view, and we're looking and speaking and we're getting cosmonauts and Russians in this show. I don't think we're going to get that. It's all told from an American standpoint of being beaten in the space race to the moon. But what do they do next now? Like he said, the flight director, if we land them, then we're still in the game. But we have to continue to keep pushing forward. So, but you are a long, 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 long way away from ever landing on Mars or Saturn or anything else that he got in his head. Today, it's the moon. It will continue to be in our local system of Earth and the moon for the time being. So what do you do next to stay in the race? Are they planning something else that you don't know about? What are you going to have to beat them to next? Because this is unfolding completely differently as to what we know of our history. So this is going to be interesting. I like that they've told it from a completely different angle of what if America doesn't always do it first? What if, according to Von Braun there, well, our technology is superior. Our whole system of what we're working with, what we're dealing with, is vastly superior to what the Russians have, which I believe, just as it always was. But they've still taken what they had and beat you to the table. What was it, the quote that is said in this? The president isn't usually called the silver medalist, only the gold medalist. So they weren't doing any of this phone call business if they landed up there. In the end, them having to choose an alternate landing site, I thought that was it. I thought they were gone. I thought that we were writing off Apollo 11 here, and that they are possibly be looking at Congress and Nixon just pulling the plug completely, and they would have to do something not under orders and something extravagant and dangerous to be able to stop the whole thing, and the whole of NASA just being culled and shut down and sold off. Wow. I don't know many names yet. I know the Von Braun guy. I know Ed. I now know who Deke is and who his wife is. I don't know about, and the other guy, Gordy. I don't know any other names yet, but you know me, I'm terrible with names. I hope you enjoyed the opening episode. I thought that was really interesting, even though I may have to brush up on my history a little bit as to any references that it's making to our history. But we'll see how we go. We might not need to. I hate having to look stuff off. No, I hate having to look stuff up because it destroys the being in the zone with it for me. Right, I'll be back with episode 2 next week, and we'll see where we go from here. But as a show that replaces the Americans, this seems like a good thing to follow it up with. I hope you agree with me. Please let me know in the comments what you thought of this opening episode, because there are 4 seasons of this, and once again, I don't want to continue down the line with something that nobody's interested in. But if you are, let me know. I'm at least going to tackle season 1, and we'll see how it goes from there. Same kind of point of view that I went with as I started NCIS, and I got nothing but for positive feedback from that. So I would appreciate your input. I will see you for episode 2 next week. Take care.